Yeah, and
makes
so
it
can
kind
you
of
kind
fun.
of explain why you guys started with a module, why you kind of wanted to move into more of a modular design and how that's kind of benefiting you guys moving forward for new locations?
Sure. Time, it was the biggest factor, and cost even actually secondary factor. But the modular building is incredibly fast, both at the fabrication plant and as well as at the site when it gets there. A lot of the benefits, like I said, would be the cost of the building. You know, as soon as we get this program going, it's going to drop even more dramatically, I believe. But the time was the biggest piece of it because unexpected weather delays or material issues or things of that nature. And the beauty of this is that we were able to narrow down the general contractor's work to just a site development project, which took away a lot of their resources and scope of work and all that. But now they're able to get in there and they can just concentrate on doing the site work and knock that out in 5 weeks time. And then we bring our building in 5 weeks time, it's ready for training and final permits. So it's
So just to kind of explain to people who may not be aware of what modular buildings are and how that kind of helps build things, um, can you kind of just explain kind of what modular building is, just in case people who are watching this don't know? And I mean, some of the limitations of it too, because you can't go into a crowded space like a big city because you need more land. So could you kind of explain that to some people?
yes. The basic modular building is three components is what ours is broken down into. It was designed to have the complete interior basically finished, including all the mechanical and electrical and plumbing systems, all the way down through the floor and up to the roof. So once the building's shipped in three parts and assembled on site in a couple of days, it's a very simple operation to finish the building off at that point in time. That was one of the driving factors that was the most difficult, is keeping it transportable, if you will. Um, and I'd say in terms of land, we're not going into any major downtown areas right now, and so it's more of an urban type approach is what the building's used for. And it is pretty amazing how complicated the system is, but how simple it is once you get it figured out. But it all comes together. You just got to consider the mate lines and the components of a building as they're coming together, what's going to happen in those regards.
So that was, it seemed, if you started April 19, that's almost 2 years of research and development to get the parts working right. And then pretty much once you've done all of that, it's just knock them out one by one.
It is actually, that's the beauty of it, is we got the first one underway and then there was interest in two more. And so it probably took me 2 days to order the next two buildings. And, it was done between the 7 trades that are necessary to get it prefabricated amazingly fast. And the mass production is even going to get more beneficial, if you will. But it took a lot of work to get it to that point, but we got it there, and we're so anxious for this first one to get set next week and see what happens.
So what were some of the really crucial elements that you knew that you had to keep true to the brand in these modular designs? Because they are pared down a bit because they have to be in order to be set up this way. So what were kind of the elements that you really needed to keep or that you felt were the most important?
We actually didn't pare it down hardly at all. When the building's done, I've got several comparisons of our standard prototype building and the images of this one. It's gonna basically be identical to it. And the challenge was the height of the building, and we concluded how we would extend the exterior walls and put our brand elements being the peak, the golden chick peaks, and our signage and our materials and all that will happen on the site after it arrives. But they're all, for the most part, prefabricated and ready to assemble as well. So
So
we
customers
maintain the
really
brand.
aren't going to see a difference.
No, they're not. No,
That's
they're not.
incredible.
Yeah, that was one of the upfront concerns, but I figured out a solution to solve that problem. Is just everything had to become components that would be assembled on site, pretty much. And one of the benefits of this building is it's a statewide permit approval as well. Is that the state of Texas has approved it once, they don't have to look at it again. And most municipalities, if not all, accept the state approval. And we won't have to go through that process. So it's a little more time saving on the front end. It's a 2-day process to get a building ordered, if you will. So,
And a
yeah,
big boost for franchisees who don't have to go through a lot of that paperwork, which is sometimes daunting.
it is. Absolutely, it is. They still need to deal with the site, but that's somewhat the easier part than all the details of the building and how that's where a lot of the things can go wrong during construction. It's mistakes by trades or oversights or incorrect specs or whatever it is. But if I'm building the building, it's done and it's done right.
Are there any other prototypes in the works that you guys are thinking of?
Yes, there's a smaller one actually too. It's two modular buildings. It's a 1,400 square foot drive-through, walk-up only, no seating areas, which is pretty in tune with today's environment, I'm afraid. And it's in development at this moment at the modular building plant. They're finalizing pricing for us and what have you. So it's a much simpler. It's like I said, just two pieces instead of three. It's a smaller, but it too will look just like the mother prototype. And they're all following that same suit with the same brand elements on the exterior, every bit of it.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I really appreciated learning about the new prototype.
Good, excellent. Glad to be here.